What's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be covering two different types of kickoffs. I'll go over your standard competitive kickoff, and then we'll talk about the more recently popular fast kickoff. These kickoffs can be really useful in every game mode, and they're even used at a professional level. But real quick, before we get into the kickoff tutorial, let's kick off this video's sponsor, Manscaped. If you've been following my channel for a while now, you'll know that Manscaped has been supporting me and my tutorials for well over a year now. But if you're new here and don't know what Manscaped is a company that created the world's first all-in-one manscaping kit that makes manscaping safe and easy. And trust me, I know a large majority of you watching either manscape already or want to start learning how to manscape. With the perfect package 3.0 that they sent me, manscaping has never been easier. The new water-resistant Lawnmower 3.0 gives you a nice close shave without those annoying little nicks. But after using the Manscaped products for the better part of a year now, I can tell you my personal favorite is the deodorant. Now I know it might seem weird at first, deodorizing your balls, but I use this every single day and it's one of those things that I never knew I needed until I had it. Seriously, you don't know what you're missing. I highly recommend these guys, and there are very few things that I will highly recommend. So go ahead and click the link in the description and use code VIRGE to get 20% off your Manscaped order, plus free shipping, plus 2 free gifts when you use code VIRGE. Now let's get back to that kickoff tutorial. In a standard kickoff, your goal is to get behind the ball at around the same time as your opponent, mainly covering the goal side of the ball. Really quickly, I'm going to go over how I do this from the 3 different kickoff positions. From the diagonal kickoff, I personally turn outside of the ball until I'm at the angle I want to be facing when I land from my first dodge. From there, I dodge diagonally inwards and forward towards the ball. There's tons of different angles you can turn to and dodge from, so you'll have to adjust the angle of your dodge based on the angle of your turn, but the angle that I've found to be most efficient is one that allows me to use a 45-degree diagonal dodge. Using this direction for your dodge allows you to still get forward momentum, but also pulls you infield to land goal side of the ball. You'll probably find yourself messing this one up a lot at first, so try to think of it like this. Whichever way you're facing before you jump for your first dodge, that's the direction you'll be facing when you land. So think of your dodge as putting you on a parallel line to the line that you're on into the direction you've dodged. That means if you turn too far, you have to dodge more infield, and if you don't turn enough, then you have to dodge more forward. But again, still try to aim for that 45-degree sweet spot. For the kickoff that's slightly to either side of the straightaway, I start by turning in towards the first boost pad and I wait until the outside of my car lines up with the far side of the ball. Once I'm there, I dodge diagonally towards the ball. Now it's important to note, during your dodge, you only want to be boosting when it's pushing you towards the ball, and there's a split second during a diagonal dodge where you're going to have to release your boost, otherwise boosting in that moment is going to slow you down. For the straightaway kickoff, which you'll only see in 1v1, I boost straight forward until I know my flip is going to take me supersonic, which is usually about halfway between the first and second boost. Once I'm there, I turn ever so slightly to the left and then dodge diagonally forward towards the ball. If you've done this right, or any of these, then you should land 1 or 2 car lengths away from the ball with a little bit of boost so that we can use it to either react to our opponent's speed, or we can use it to recover off of the ball once we've made our kickoff. We also need this distance because it gives us time and space to jump and make contact in the center of the ball. Making contact in the center of the ball's height is extremely important, and I'll explain why later in the video when I get to talking about how you control the outcome of your kickoff. When making this jump to the center of the ball, I try to keep my car level with the ground. This allows us to get as much of something that I call straight line mass as possible. Straight line mass is something that I talk about in my new Gamers Ready course, Fundamentals of Beginning Rocket League, so if you want to learn more about it, there's going to be a link in the description to a page with more information. But in short, straight line mass is the amount of mass you have directly on the line of your momentum. By remaining parallel to the ground, we get the mass from our tail pushing all the way through our nose so we can get the most mass behind our challenge on the ball. So to do this, I pretty much just let go of my joystick when I jump and I don't move it again until I'm ready to use my dodge. Most people will make the mistake of dodging into the ball before they make contact on kickoff. We want to make sure that we make contact first because dodging too early can change our point of contact and it can also pull our car off of this straight line mass. It's important to hold on to your dodge until both players have made contact with the ball. That means if you touch the ball first, then you wait for your opponent to touch it and then dodge. If you touch the ball second, You dodge right when you make contact because your opponent already has. Now let's talk about the more advanced fast kickoff. The main difference in this kickoff is that we're going to be using a mechanic called the speed flip. If you don't know what a speed flip is, it's basically a flip cancel on a forward diagonal dodge that allows you to keep boosting throughout the whole flip so you get to the ball slightly faster than your opponent. I recommend practicing this flip on its own before attempting to do it with a kickoff because you have to be very precise, otherwise you could miss the ball altogether. To use this for a kickoff, begin driving forward with boost, then turn slightly to the left or right. Again, I turn to the outside of the ball, just like I do with the standard kickoff that we talked about before, but keep in mind this turn is going to be much smaller. It's also really important that you cancel your flip slightly towards the side you're flipping to, because once we jump, we need to hold air roll during the flip and the cancel so that coming out of the cancel, our car rolls slightly to the side to get the most efficient and controlled landing possible. In this kickoff, I start boosting in the beginning, and I don't stop until I hit supersonic, then I let go. This should land you in a similar position to the regular kickoff. When I land, I'm not holding my power slide so that my car can move in a straight line to the ball, but I do grab my gas for a split second between my landing and my next jump. Because this kickoff is intended to get you to the ball first, unless your opponent does the same thing of course, you should be ready to hit the ball first and hold your dodge for when your opponent makes contact. We're going to be slightly shifting the position of the ball before our opponent makes contact so that it throws off their kickoff just a little bit and gives us more control. You want to apply the same straight line mass principles in this kickoff as the kickoff before, which means once you've jumped, you don't want to move your joystick until you're ready for your dodge. This kickoff is insanely tricky, so I highly recommend getting yourself comfortable with the standard kickoff approach before attempting a fast kickoff approach. So now that we've talked about how to get to the ball efficiently, let's talk about how to control the outcome of the challenge. All a kickoff is an organized 50-50. So we're going to control the outcome of a kickoff the same way that we would control any other 50-50. When you're trying to control a 50-50, the first thing you should focus on is where you're going to make contact on the ball and which way your straight line mass is moving. Instead of thinking of it as trying to hit the ball where you want it to go, think of it more like you're covering the ball where you don't want it to go. If we don't want the ball to go to our net, then we hit the ball on the goal side with our straight line mass moving from the goal to the ball. If we don't want the ball to go to the left, we hit the ball on the left with our straight line mass coming from the left. This basically applies to any and every direction that you're going to try to keep the ball from going to in a 50-50, but when controlling a 50-50 in a kickoff, you should still aim for the center of the ball, just slightly to the left or slightly to the right. If we hit the ball perfectly in the center, then we give all the control to our opponent on which side the ball is going to leave the 50-50. If we hit slightly to the left or slightly to the right, we're still controlling the middle of the ball, but also controlling which side the ball is more likely not to go. The next thing we have to think about is where our opponent is making contact and what direction their straight line mass is moving. Pretty much a mirror of what we're doing. In order to get the ball to go where we want it to, we need to adjust our path based on our opponent's path to leave the path of least resistance on the side of the ball in the direction we want it to go. If you don't know what a path of least resistance is, it's basically the space on the ball that has the least amount of force being applied to it when two or more forces are affecting the ball. So try to manipulate the path of least resistance by adjusting your path based on your opponent's path to leave the side of the ball open in the direction you want it to go. When making this contact to cover your side of the ball, we want to make sure we're getting high enough on our jump to hit the center, because if we make contact too low, it leaves an opening above us, and if we make contact too high, it leaves an opening below us. Keep in mind, we've done all this before we've used our dodge, because now we're going to use our dodge to follow the ball in that path of least resistance. Once you've made contact, and so has your opponent, the ball is going to start to travel into that path of least resistance. We're going to use our dodge to follow the ball in that direction. So if the ball goes right, then we side flip to the right. If the ball goes forward to the left, then we flip forward to the left. We basically just want to stay behind the ball as it moves into that path of least resistance so that we can keep getting touches to push the ball out of that path onto the side of the field that we want it to go to. Once you understand how to do this, tie it together with your kickoff approach and you should have yourself a winning kickoff.
But Virge, what if every time I win the kickoff, the ball goes towards my opponent and then they get the ball and score?
Don't you worry your little pea brain, because I've got a big brain tip for you. You're right, sometimes winning the kickoff every time can result in your opponent catching on and gaining possession. If you want to be able to safely switch it up and get possession of the ball on your side of the field from the kickoff, then you can use this method to intentionally lose the kickoff, but still control it to your teammate behind you. I hope this goes without saying that this only works in 2s and 3s because you need a teammate behind you. Everything about our kickoff is going to stay the same, except for how we make contact to control the outcome. Normally in a kickoff, we use our nose to make contact because we're trying to push the ball forward. But when we're trying to intentionally lose the kickoff, at the very last second, we're going to turn our nose across the ball so that we're making contact with the side of our car. Your tail should be pointing in the direction that you want the ball to go on your side of the field. What this does is opens up the path of least resistance to the corner of your side of the field so that your opponent pushes the ball into you and it slides along the side of your car to that back corner. Once your opponent has made contact and the ball starts to travel, make sure you dodge into the ball on whatever side of you it's on to help force it out of the middle of the field and towards the corner off of your opponent. For this kickoff to work most efficiently, your teammate should immediately head to the corner you intend to lose to right when the kickoff starts. When done correctly, your teammate should have a free ball rolling at them right after they've grabbed the boost. Now, these aren't the only ways to do kickoffs, just the ways that I've found to be really consistent and competitive. If you want to keep getting better, you should always be creative, always try new things, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Liking this video not only shows me your support, but it also makes it more likely to end up in your solo queue teammates' recommended feed so they can stop sucking at the kickoff too. And you can win more games. But most importantly, thanks for watching.